Hi everyone, my name's Nathan. I'm the founder and CEO of Notifier. Um, I've been saying for a while that I'm going to sort of document the entire series of growing a new sort of SaaS startup, which is exactly what sort of Notifier is. And I just thought it'd be like a really interesting series, really to go from absolute scratch. At the moment I've just got Stripe up, so. Um, Whilst there's 376 customers there, really they're just sort of sign-ups, people who've signed up to the app. Like you can see that there have been no payments made. I just set up sort of Stripe on the back end yesterday to be able to accept payments. Um, so we just had our first person sort of enter actual card details just yesterday, which is quite good. Um, like I said, I have 376 people already who have sort of signed up for sort of early beta access. I mean, I'm just sort of rolling out of beta now and going into a sort of fully functioning application. But altogether there is about 700. Just not all of them are in Stripe. Um, so I've been traveling for the past sort of month or so, and I have been meaning to sort of record this and do this properly. So there is a little bit of a head start, but I still have sort of no customers at all. So you will literally be seeing me acquiring my first actual customers of the app. The sort of methods that I'm using to do that, and how I sort of go about optimizing and scaling the business from there. Um, the last time I sort of grew my first startup, I ended up getting about 12,000 customers in about 90 days. I'm not sure if it's going to be exactly like that again. I was sort of familiar with that industry already when I first got into it, and this is something sort of slightly new for me. But yeah, it should be a good journey, and I enjoy marketing quite a lot. I think I have quite a lot of sort of information that I can share with people, particularly people who don't quite have a good grasp on how to acquire their sort of first customers and what to do. So if you do sort of follow along with the series, then you should be able to sort of pick up quite a lot. I focus on sort of growth hacking, and I have quite a few sort of interesting hacks that you can use. Um, just to give you a bit about sort of Notify and what it actually is, so you understand what I'm trying to grow. I mean, quite simply here, it's a platform to automate website growth. So you would plug in Notify into your existing website or online business by just copying and pasting the script, and then you basically have access to about 50 pre-built growth hacks. They're ones that I've sort of used in the past, and I know they sort of work very well, so I've sort of built them into the platform Notifier, and now they're literally available for anyone to use. So whereas usually a sort of growth team would have to come up with the ideas within the organization, and you have to get developers involved to actually build the growth hacks and design them. And it would often take sort of weeks just to run an experiment that you don't even know if it's going to work or not. With Notify, you can literally plug into your website within 30 seconds, and you can actually just sort of deploy pre-built growth hacks literally within about 30 seconds onto your website. Um, so they're all things that have worked sort of very well for me in the past on a variety of different businesses, and that's why I've sort of built them all into sort of one central platform. Because before I had to use about 7 or 8 different different subscriptions to have these tools at my disposal. So instead, I just hired a developer, and I've been working closely with him for about 6 months now, to sort of build out this platform and make it available to everyone at sort of far cheaper than it would be otherwise. It essentially just focuses on sort of 5 key areas of growth, which is acquisition, activation, revenue, retention, and referrals. The one other area that I did add in, it's not directly affecting growth itself, but I think it's just so important for a business to be able to collect feedback from their customers. So I did add sort of feedback. As like I said, I just think it is whilst it doesn't directly impact growth itself, the information is just so valuable when you are sort of running experiments. For example, like exit intent surveys, if you're able to find out why your visitors aren't converting, if there's something missing, Um, that is just a tremendously powerful thing, and it helps you understand how to grow your business a hell of a lot more efficiently. So that is why I have included it sort of in the platform. Um, you're welcome to sort of sign up and go and get a free trial if you want to, but really this isn't to sort of sell Notify to anyone. Whilst I'm sort of doing the series, I've wanted to. I think there's so many sort of series out there on YouTube where people say that they're sort of trying to help people grow their sort of businesses and things like that, but really, I like you just sort of get advertised to sort of buy their like $1,000 e-commerce courses on sort of how to make $1 million in sort of 2 months, which just isn't very realistic. So I don't want this to be like that at all. Really, I'd just like to sort of share my experiences. Hopefully, anyone sort of watching can gather some sort of insightful tips and sort of see some things that I'm doing. But also the other way I thought of it is if people are sort of watching it and there are some other sort of very experienced entrepreneurs watching it, my sort of key area, my sort of skill set lies within sort of growth. But in terms of other areas of sort of running a business, I'm not the best person. So if I'm sort of recording and sort of documenting everything, maybe I can get some sort of input from other entrepreneurs on sort of things that could be done better, tools that they've sort of used to solve particular problems that I'm experiencing. Um, so yeah, that is the sort of main motivation behind the platform. Um, just to go over sort of what I'm doing at the moment. So this is the landing page, obviously. Um, and today I've been focusing on sort of passing this over to my developers. I do get my hands dirty with a bit of code myself, but I tend to let them sort of do most of the work, and like I'll get involved in the sort of front end sometimes, but um, I'm trying to focus more on growth than development. So this is a little document that I prepared, which originally I was going to use Mixpanel, but now I'm using sort of Segment to integrate with Mixpanel. Um, if you don't know what Segment is, it is essentially a tool where you integrate sort of one API rather than having loads of different scripts installed on your site and having to do a lot of different API integrations. You do one integration and it will pass all of the details, all your sort of customer data through into all of the apps that you're using in your stack. Which it just saves a hell of a lot of time. Another way to do this would be through Zapier. But I think this is a far more efficient way to do things and probably cheaper. So essentially what we're doing here, for anyone who isn't used to sort of tracking, is whenever someone clicks login, here you can see the event login type, standard, location, homepage. So it's just a way for me to sort of track what activities users are sort of doing on my site. So if login isn't the most advantageous one, but for example, when we go into the actual dashboard, this isn't the finished dashboard, by the way, but I can see exactly which features people are installing, sort of what they're doing, whether they're customizing it or not, the actual customizations that they are doing. And for example, we can use this data to deliver sort of very targeted email campaigns, or sort of in-app messages. I mean, or even I'll probably end up doing both. So if you were getting sort of data sort of fed through to you that maybe someone's sort of pausing all of their campaigns, I can send it a sort of message and ask if there's like a problem, because it might be a little bit strange that they're stopping everything. Um, I mean, and for example, it's just a very easy way to sort of nurture people along the customer journey. Um, so, and depending what stage sort of people are at, so I obviously have a sort of funnel the same as every, or pretty much every sort of online business, and it's just a way for me to track which stage of the funnel people are at, which actions sort of they've performed. So that is being sort of integrated for me at the moment. And once that is done, I'll go through some sort of automation and sort of little things that we can do with Intercom, or any other sort of live chat. Next up, something I'll just share a few little things that I've sort of found recently that that I think are pretty good. I just found this today. It's HubSpot's blog ideas generator. So you put in a sort of keyword that you can put in whatever you want. So for example, I just did growth hacking. Sorry, not growth hacking. And straight away it return in exchange for your email. Obviously, that's how HubSpot do things. But it will give you 250 different titles, or sort of ideas for sort of things that you can write on growth hacking. So you can see them all here. So I've just set myself a little task. Over the next year, I'm going to write a blog post for each and every one of these titles, which should establish a fair bit of credibility within growth hacking. Anyway, aside from that, the main thing that I've been sort of doing to grow, I mean, sort of, I'm starting to build out a bit of a sort of marketing strategy. I've been doing a bit of sort of LinkedIn outbound messaging and sort of things like that. Here's a little MindNode document, which is just a sort of brainstorming tool which I like to use for my sort of strategies. This is quite an empty one for me. If you want to see, I think it's this one. No, it's not that one. Sorry. It's not that one either. It is. Yeah, sorry, it's this one. Wait, as you can, it's absolutely full with like it goes all the way up here. I can't zoom out any further. It's just full with ideas of things, of ways that I sort of have to. I actually used this on a previous business, and I was just going to sort of replicate it on here. So, for example, these are all sort of different things to sort of grow businesses, and I just tend to sort of brainstorm ideas for sort of marketing. So yeah, as you can see, there's a hell of a lot of information there, on sort of different on different ways to sort of grow a business. And whilst this one doesn't have sort of much in at the moment, I've literally just done this within sort of 5 minutes before recording this video. So this is the general strategy I'll be sort of starting out with, and then I just sort of scale out the branches from there as I sort of progress on with things. So to start off, I'm focusing quite heavily on LinkedIn. I managed to acquire lists of my sort of competitors' customers, using a few sort of different tools. So I'm doing sort of cold outreach over LinkedIn at first, and then I'll sort of start to follow up doing sort of cold emails. Yeah, so that is at the moment I have about 1 million of my competitors, probably more than that. In fact, 1 million. Yeah, it's definitely more than that. So over 1 million of my competitors' customers, I have sort of details for them. There's a tool here, which there are two, in fact, that are both sort of really good for finding out competitors' customers, particularly if you work within SaaS. So, for example, let's do Google Analytics, because it's just a very simple one that obviously everyone's heard of. So, say that your competitor is Google Analytics. We can do a quick search here, and here there's a result of 11.4 million websites that have Google Analytics installed. So you can just go ahead and download the report, and then you could go and do sort of cold outreach to all of these websites. So let me just think of another. So maybe Opt-in Monster, I'm guessing most people have heard of. Search source code Opt-in Monster. So here is. I thought it'd be a few more than that. Sorry, so whilst that's loading, another good one to do is pro.builtwith.com, and they have sort of a huge database huge databases, sorry, on how many, on what tools have been installed where. So if you do work in SaaS, that's a pretty good sort of hack to reach out to competitors' customers. I mean, I can go over this in a hell of a lot more detail. I think I probably will, because it genuinely is a really good hack. you don't really want to do sort of cold outreach via email to all of them. I think it's much easier to do it over LinkedIn, just because if you're doing email, your messages will just get put into sort of junk so quickly, especially doing it at scale. Whereas on LinkedIn, you pretty much have, I mean, you do have a 100% inbox rate. So I can show you a hack on how to sort of scrape LinkedIn profiles for people, for example, the owners of all of these companies listed here. Just to give you another example, so these are all ones that I've sort of downloaded. So I'm guessing most people know like Crazy Egg, or something like that. So these are all sort of reports that I've downloaded already. Let me just refresh it. And we'll see how many there is. So anyway, that's the main sort of thing I'm doing at the moment. In terms of sort of growth hacking, is reaching out directly to my competitors' customers, just using sort of LinkedIn automation to do so. Another little growth hack that I've been sort of playing around with. I haven't. It's just automation really, to be honest, rather than a very interesting growth hack. But I think Product Hunt is sort of massively underutilized. And essentially, if you don't know what Product Hunt is, it's a platform of sort of early adopters who are interested in tech products. This is Hiten Shah. He's an influencer, particularly within sort of SaaS products. As you can see, he's got about 38,000 followers. The very interesting thing about Product Hunt is every time you get a new follower on there, you get sent an email saying saying that David or whoever just followed you. So it's quite likely that they will sort of click on your profile. So I haven't built an automation tool for this yet. So I was trying this earlier with Selenium IDE, but it wasn't quite working. So I have to play around with it a bit more. But essentially, just sort of following these people, we know that they're most likely interested in sort of software as a service. So they could be good customers for me as well. Obviously, he has 38,000 followers, so I'm not going to do it manually, but it's just a little thing that not many people are doing, so it's not a really sort of saturated. Oh yeah, someone's just messaged me from the following I was doing earlier. Yeah, it's not sort of overly saturated. For example, Instagram automation and sort of follow on follow is just so sort of saturated now, whereas a few years ago it was really good. No, Instagram is sort of cracking down on things like that. Okay, so for example here, Crazy Egg websites, there are 129,000 results. So if you're a competitor of Crazy Egg, for example, I used to work for Hotjar, who are a sort of direct competitor. They could just go ahead and sort of reach out to all of Crazy Egg's customers, trying to convince them to sign up. I mean, aside from that, I guess that is the sort of main introduction to just sort of Notifier and sort of where I'm at the moment. The last tool that I'll sort of mention that I came across just the other day, so I'm not too experienced with it, although I have used some similar tools in the past that were a bit more expensive, which is why I thought this was quite interesting. If it wants to load, that is. Okay, here we go. So I don't know if anyone's familiar with sort of Mention or anything like that, but essentially it will, whenever there's a trigger on the internet for something that matches your keywords, you'll get a notification. So I shouldn't say on the internet, that sounds ridiculous. On sort of social media, or sort of blogs, in sort of comments, forums, news. So it monitors sort of Twitter, Facebook, Google Plus, YouTube, Instagram. So you could even sort of monitor your own brand on here. So whenever someone mentions sort of Notifier, I would get a notification about it, and I could maybe go and engage with them in some way. But at the moment, I'm doing this for user acquisition, but for some reason it doesn't want to load. Here we go. Okay, so here are a few sort of competitors that I'm sort of following at the moment. So whenever something gets sort of mentioned, I mean, it could be something relevant that I can go and reach out to. Um, so, for example, here's Sumo Me. Really, what you're looking for is people complaining about your competitors. So if they're saying like, oh, something isn't working, or like, why isn't this working, you can go and sort of reach out to them and say like, and convince them to come and sort of come and join you. You can also just put in any type of keyword. So, for example, user feedback is something that we. So I didn't mean to get a picture of a toilet up. User feedback is something that Notifier offers. So I've put in sort of user feedback on Twitter. But as you can see, it still needs sort of playing around with a bit. Is really that's not relevant to me at all. So that shouldn't be there. But you can just remove it. Um, so I haven't quite got it set up perfectly yet. Like I said, I only just discovered it yesterday and just did a bit of playing around with it. But I think with a bit more sort of tweaking or so, it would be a very powerful tool just to get sort of leads sent straight into your inbox. Aside from that, the only other tool that I'll mention is F5 bot, which is something I also discovered the other day, which basically triggers a notification specifically on Reddit, Hacker News, or Lobsters. I'm not familiar with Lobsters actually, but obviously Reddit and Hacker News are two sort of very large technology hubs. So at the moment, whenever someone mentions sort of marketing blogs, I did have a few on that just got triggered sort of way too much, so I had to turn them off. But whenever your keyword gets triggered, you'll just get a little sort of email into your inbox. So yeah, there's a few different hacks for you there. I'm sure most people wouldn't have heard of the first ones anyway, of acquiring competitors' customers. But yeah, aside from that, I'm going to try and sort of document videos every single day. I tend to work every single day. Just the only issue is I work I work remotely. I'm also a sort of digital nomad on the side. So at the moment I'm traveling through Norway. I've spent the past sort of 3 months traveling full time and working as well. But when I work during the day, I tend to work from like sort of cafes or sort of bars, and they can get sort of quite noisy. So it's not really great for recording sort of video content. So there'll be a lot of background noise, but I'll see what I can do. Other than that, I'll list all of the tools mentioned here just in the description, so you can go out and check them all as you wish. Um, yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I will be putting up more videos very frequently. Hopefully you've enjoyed it and learned something new. Thanks for watching.